It's
going live.
face.
Yeah, I was like, that'll be the face too.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 23, and we are live. I'm TJ.
And I'm Kent. How we doing?
And joining us tonight is one of our favorite guests, Cam Hayes, or Hayes C494. Cam, welcome back to the show, brother.
Hey, guys.
So, folks, before we get started here, I do want to give a quick shout out to Riton Optics. Of course, they are the optics manufacturer of choice for both Kent and myself, and we invite you to head on over to ritonoptics.com and check out all of their new 2020 lineup. They've also reduced a lot of the prices on some of the more popular scopes. So instead of the discount code, I would invite you all to head on over and check out many of the online distributors such as Optics Planet, Rainier Arms, all those other different companies that you can pick up some of your favorite glass from and go check out what they have to offer.
I love it when you have an ad read stroke.
Right? Right?
Who sells stuff besides Optics Planet?
Yeah.
Brownells?
Yeah.
Midway.
It's such a pain in the butt.
Go on the Google machine and look up Riton Optics, find out who's selling them, and buy them.
Yeah, or you could do that. It beats a let me Google that for you link. So, Cam, you're back on the show. We're talking about some new stuff going on with you. You've got a new match that you're a big part of coming up. So why don't we start off with telling the world what Cam Hayes has been up to lately?
All right. So what's been new with me? I still hate my job because, it's not what I love doing. Like I make CNC programs. I work on CNC machines and stuff like that. I just don't love it anymore. Like it was fun whenever I was like making 5-axis CNC programs for a saw, and then like I could kind of work at my own pace and stuff. But, it also like working in the gun industry, as you guys have seen, whenever you try to get a job doing anything in the industry, they want to pay you pennies because, there's 15 FUDs who will throw in an app at a location because, they just want to work in the industry, but they're not actually buying quality. They're just buying some dude that they can stick behind a counter who can drool and pick their nose, and their grandpappy taught them everything. So then, hey, bro.
I mean, those are valid qualifications, Cam. I don't understand.
Yeah, easy.
I don't understand.
Whoa,
whoa! I'm feeling attacked over here.
Yeah. So like I'm still doing the whole like I still do granite countertops and make CNC programs and whatever. Teach some classes here and there and stuff like that. So anyway, also I went to the Whiteheads for a weekend in Alabama, and I shot a deer with my 12-inch Grendel. And it died. So I have deer meat in my freezer, which is awesome. A bunch of people were asking me, about the 12-inch Grendel and how it was going to perform this hunting season and whatever. I only got to hunt once in North Carolina this year. Didn't kill anything. So then I went to Alabama, and it was like a guarantee. So I shot the deer with my 12-inch Grendel with a LPVO on it, a 1-6, and shot the deer 175 yards away. Yeah, so it was a 170-pound doe, so she was big. It's
an old girl.
That's a world record for Alabama.
I thought. Never mind. Anyway,
you make Boone and Crockett with those numbers in Alabama.
Wait. 170 pounds in Alabama is a skinny girl.
Oh yeah.
Or are we talking about deer?
Yeah, that one.
That one. Okay. Sorry.
So anyway, so I killed it dead. And like I said, I was out there visiting the Whiteheads and stuff like that. I wasn't even at their house for half an hour before, like, literally, Ed Whitehead's wife, daughter-in-law saw my bare naked ass because Mike and Jace were like, "Hey, you think Cam will jump in that pool?" Like they were taking bets on it and shit because it was like freezing ass cold outside. And he was like, "No, I'm not taking that bet. Cam's fucking crazy. Of course he's going to jump in the pool." So naturally, like that was basically them giving me permission. So I was like, "Oh, that's a thing now." Jumped in the pool, came out, took my clothes off or whatever, like changed off to the side or whatever. And yeah, and he was like, "You've been here for like 30 minutes and my whole family's seen your naked ass. I think I have to adopt you now." So I'm pretty sure that they're adopting me. Maybe that's what he said.
What way to represent the family there, Cam.
Yeah, I know, right?
Appreciate it. Did you at least tell them to subscribe to the podcast?
Yeah,
I
really.
sure did. They should be watching right now. They're probably talking about it. Yeah, I got some peoples on here I see in the that are talking right now. But anyway, so I got a new truck. I got a new truck also.
And
I got a I got a 2020 Ranger. Yeah.
Ooh. Ranger FX4 Ranger what? What'd you get?
STX.
Okay. I'm digging the Ranger life.
Yeah, so it's the XL, but with the STX package. So I've got 4-wheel drive, locking rear differential, and I can do a lot of stuff with my truck on my cell phone, which was a big selling point for me, that I could like start it and unlock the doors and shit like that. So
yeah. Don't
All right,
get
so
me
there's
started
that.
on Ford trucks. I'm sorry. I'm having a terrible Ford truck. Like,
Yeah, we could have an entire episode dedicated to
Yes.
his truck woes that he's had recently.
That and suppressors being in ATF jail.
yes.
But and then also, you know, you guys have noticed I've picked up a bunch of sponsors here lately and stuff like that. So I'm glad we cleared out this 30-minute segue for me to talk about all my sponsors.
Can I just point out that it maybe there is some logic to the whole like male gun bunny business. You show your ass to the whiteheads and you pick up a few more sponsors. You know,
you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. All right, so as always, Aerodynamic sponsors me. I went and shot their egg shoot last week. 2 weeks ago. It was a Super Bowl Sunday thing. They do it every Super Bowl Sunday. It's kind of a way to like, you know, protest, sort of like boycott organized televised sports or whatever. So we go out there and we shoot eggs. And the way that works is, you know, there's 3 bags with numbers 1 through 9 on them. You draw, you know, one number from each bag, and that dictates your target distance, and your target is an egg. This year, we got lucky. The distance was 315 yards, but you're still shooting at an egg. An egg is roughly 2.2 inches tall and 1.2 inches in diameter.
T-Rex eggs.
Yeah, we were shooting big eggs. So we were shooting shooting eggs at 315 yards, and luckily, I hit my egg because I had to represent my gas gun peoples. So I hit my egg with my 5.56 gas gun with my hand loads. I made a little YouTube video about it. It was a little short guy. I was also filming a couple little short videos about this guy I got behind me right here, which you guys remember whenever I was talking about if I built the perfect designated marksman rifle, what it would be. And it's very similar to this guy right here, which, I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, Aerodynamics, Title II Manufacturing, you know, they're kind of getting pigeonholed as a knife company because they make dope-ass knives, but they do a lot of gun work and stuff, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. So I'm trying to, like, push that they do gun things, too. Like, it's not just knives. Like, don't get me wrong, their knives are awesome, and you guys have seen, like, I carry around their knife and stuff like that at matches and like, just regular daily stuff, but they don't just do knives. Bullet Consulting Group. So Bullet actually did me a Glock 19 slide that I could do like a red dot on, an RMR. But they also did me this guy right here. They made me a Boogaloo cup for my alcohols or for my coffee or whatever. And it's got like the lyrics to Country Roads on it. It's got my YouTube channel on it and stuff like that. Like he went ham sandwich, and I really appreciated that he did that, you know? So Andy's a really good dude too. So I just love that guy. He is good people, I tell you what. And I see him at a lot of matches and stuff. He supports the sport by throwing stuff down on prize tables and stuff. He's just a great dude. Control Solutions muzzle brakes. They're like, it's like Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything because they're awesome and they work. TRM, Todd Resource Management. They're hosting the ShayTac series right now, which I'm currently shooting. And I'm not doing too great. I've shot one match for this series so far. And yeah, didn't do great on that one.
Might have had something to do with the metric shit ton of alcohol you consume on a regular basis.
You know.
No, you know what? So
probably unrelated.
I got to go out and visit and hang out with Cam at his DRM match, and he introduced me to that Naked Turtle rum, which I'm almost certain is what he's pouring into that class right now.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, that stuff mixes with Dr. Pepper really well. And yeah, it's. I'm glad I was sleeping in the bed of the truck. I'll just tell you this right now. It was, and it wasn't parked too far away.
Yeah, we were out there, you know, the night before the match, you know, just having a couple of drinks and whatnot.
And me and my broke-ass Ford truck couldn't make it there.
I know.
We drank some for you too, buddy. That's all.
Oh, we did. We drink enough for everybody. But anyway, so recently, you guys know I've been talking about 903 Tactical out of Texas.
Yeah.
So 903 Tactical, like they don't, they sent me a box one day, and it just like, it's little things like that, like, people supporting each other and stuff like that, because you don't know what kind of shitty day somebody's had or anything like that, And I was having a shitty day. And I came home that day and I had a package sitting on my front porch, and it was from 903 Tactical, and it had like some hats and a t-shirt, and it meant the world to me. Like I was having a garbage day. So yeah, it meant a whole lot to me that I had that, sitting there waiting for me. But not only that, like he's kind of motivated me to like go do my sprints more and stuff like that, instead of doing like the long run and stuff. So anyway, Fortitude Consulting, you guys know that, they work with Scott Jadlinski of Modern Samurai Project and stuff like that. And every once in a while, like I would go and assist with some of their classes and stuff, talk about like terminal performance of projectiles and, help out shooters a little bit and stuff like that. Fenix Strategies, they're hosting the match in part. I'm not 100% sure. It's really Chris Roberts' match, and he's affiliated with Fenix. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I'm sure somebody will probably chime in and correct me here. But basically, they're doing the designated marksman match that's going to be part of the subject of conversation tonight. And then Canebrake. Canebrake makes the zero offset tool that I gave to everybody who came to my designated marksman match. Mike Lewis, he's a great dude. And here recently, we sent some of the zero offset tools overseas to some of my boys overseas, so that they could, have them for whenever they go do their qualifications and stuff over there, before they get pushed over the horizon, like OTH. And then Palmetto State Armory. So there's actually a recent development with me and PSA. Like, y'all know I love PSA and stuff like that. People hate that I love PSA, but I do love PSA. They are no longer supporting my YouTube channel. So that's a thing. It's whenever you are sent products to evaluate for a company, you have to show like in a computer that you're generating sales for them. Yeah. Like on a computer.
So what you're saying is they wanted me to use a computer for ROI. And, Cam don't roll that way, so it didn't work.
No. So I was making AvantLink links for the products that I was pushing and stuff like that. But there was a problem with my AvantLink account. So it was always showing 0 generation of sales from my AvantLinks. And I was like, what the hell's going on with this? So I even contacted PSA and I was like, hey, I don't know why this is saying, like, why it's still showing 0 or whatever. And they were like, oh, contact AvantLink. I contacted them and they were like, yeah, it looks like it's working fine. It showed 0, but like I have screenshots on my phone from where I was like, people were like, I bought this gun because of you. Thanks, bro. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't help me any. So PSA is no longer sending me shit to evaluate for them. But
wait, hold on. But because your AvantLinks were misdirected and going in the wrong place, Fleshlight is now your newest sponsor.
Yeah, so that's a thing. I'm gonna have really strong hands. But anyway, but even though PSA basically is like pushing me away, I still either that day or the next day, I bought the 18-inch upper that's on this 6.5 Grindor behind me. So I don't hate PSA. I still like their products and stuff like that. I'm just a little bit sad that they're not sending me stuff to evaluate for them anymore. But you know what? It be like that sometimes.
That it do. So yeah, go ahead, Kent.
So tonight's ad read was brought to you by Caffeine because he went through it blazingly fast.
You're welcome.
There's a couple things I just want to make sure that we unpack and that I'm clear on. If I could get to my stupid screen that I left open, that went away. Worst segue ever. There it is.
Speaking of advertisement lock.
Advertisement lock. Talk to me about control brakes for a second, please.
Okay. The only reason that the gun behind me doesn't have a control brake on it right now is because I just got that last week. So that's the only reason it doesn't have one on it. If you open up my gun safe right now, just about all of my long guns have control brakes on them because they work. And they're not ridiculous expensive or anything like that. They just work. And that's like, I don't know what more you need to hear about it. Like I've shot them on, what really sold me, I've got a video about it. I've got a couple videos about control brakes, was Jeremy Kahn handed me a short-barreled 300 Win Mag Remington 700 bolt action with a control brake on it, and said, and it was like a little shorty 700, and he was like, "Shoot this," and it's a 300 Win Mag. I was like, "Ugh," but he was like, "No, it's got one of my brakes on it. Just try it out." And I was like, "Ugh." Like, yeah, I didn't know, I didn't know his brakes were dope. So I ran the gun, and I was like, I've shot plenty of 300 Win Mag in my life, and I was just like, I'm not looking forward to this at all. I fired it, and I was like, that was nothing. Ran the bolt, fired it again, ran the bolt, fired it again. He was like, stop. And I was like, I don't want to. But he stopped me, not for me to stop shooting, but because he wanted to prove a point to me. He folded the stock on it. So, a lot of chassis now like have folding stocks, like the ESS and stuff like that. He folded the stock on it. It was like, shoot it like a pistol now. And I was like, okay. So ran the bolt, got behind the scope with no stock, fired it, and it literally just jumped on the table. And I was like, I'm sold. So that day I was like, I want to buy this brake. I want to buy this brake. I want to buy this one. So I was getting a bunch of, 5/8 by 24 thread pitch and a 1/2 by 28 thread pitch. And, I've got them on just about all of my guns. I've even got a clamp on a Remington 770 300 Win Mag bolt action that I've got. So I put those on everything.
Yeah. So I actually took one of those off the prize table from your match.
Yeah. Get you some of that.
Yep. It's sitting on my 308 right now. Mm-hmm. I've got some scopes to swap around because I've got some new Riton glass coming in. So the scope that's on that rifle behind me is going to go back on my 308, and I'm looking forward to getting that thing out and trying it. So it's very well built. I'll give you that.
It's a game changer.
So for them being, and just right off the bat, for them being a smaller company, one that truth be told, I hadn't heard of since I've met you, Cam, right? Mm-hmm. The low price point that they have, you're looking at what, maybe $100-$120 ish. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say I had low expectations, but they were moderate. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what this guy's got, right? And the build quality is fantastic. I've got two other compensators for the 308 or chambered in the 30 cal with the 5/8 by 24 thread that I'm going to try. I've got the VG7 Epsilon, which is right there on that gun behind me. I've got a knockoff version of the Michelet compensator for the 308, which is what I had on that gun to begin with.
Yeah, the DPMS one?
No, some no-name company.
Oh, okay.
And now the control solution. So I'm going to do a comparison between the three, and I'll be providing some feedback on that. But I'm looking forward to it. It's very good quality, very well made. No machine marks, nice clean finish. You can tell that the guys over there at Control really took the time to make sure that they're putting out a good product. So I'm looking forward to testing it, man. I've seen nothing but good things coming out of heard nothing from good things coming out of you about it. I'm looking forward to testing it. Yeah,
I will say this though. His brakes are definitely made for competitive shooters. Yeah, like 100%, because I've fired those like guns with those brakes on them indoors, and actually that deer that I popped, I had a control brake on my 12-inch Grendel. So like if you fire those indoors, or if your partner AJ has a control brake on his gun and he's like right next to you firing, it's unpleasant to be next to. But you as the shooter, having a good brake is important because you have faster follow-up shots, or you can spot your trace. So if you're doing like long range work, you can see where your bullet impacts your splash, and then you can adjust accordingly after that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's but yeah, I've having shot my fair share of compensators before. Yeah, I can attest to that. And as soon as I got my hands on the control brake, that was one of the things that I was like, this thing's gonna be loud. So looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Good assessment.
So, what's going on with your rifle cartridge?
All right, so Pacific Tool is who currently has the reamers. Like they're the ones who are doing my reamers for me. I pretty much, since I shoot for aerodynamics and stuff like that, and I trust them. They're the ones who are more or less heading up the project now. Like it's my rifle cartridge, it's still got my name on it, all that other stuff. But it's mostly aerodynamics, like, is going to be doing the machine work for it and stuff now. My initial intention was I was going to make, three rifles in my chambering. And I was going to go, have one gun that was a prototype gun so I could do load development and stuff like that with, have one gun to shoot in competition, and one gun for whoever my partner is to shoot in competition. That way, me and my partner would be shooting a similar chambering of cartridge, and also I would have one to do load development with. But so many people want in on this rifle cartridge that, they're like, it isn't even done yet, and people are like, it's got your name attached to it, I want one. You guys are included. So,
I'm just saying,
you got,
I got a stripped lower receiver that's waiting, buddy. I'm just saying.
So like you guys both said that y'all wanted them, and I was like, I haven't even got the damn prototype done yet. Whenever I was over in Georgia, I gave them, just the tip of, what the capabilities of the cartridge would do and stuff like that. And I told Ed, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make 3, and he was like 4. And I was like, no, I'm making 3 so that I can have a prototype and then 2 guns to shoot in competition. He was like, you're making 4. And I was like, I'm making 4. so I was like, all right, making 1 for him too. So like, and that means so much to me. Like, you guys don't even know, like, for you guys to want it, and like, for people to want this thing and it's not even done yet just because it's got my name attached to it. It means a lot to me.
So
He's getting the vapors, folks. He's getting the vapors.
Yeah. So we just need to, for sure, designate the name. And I would say, TJ, that we have at least, like, do we have like a third naming rights? Is this like a stadium? Yeah, we do. Oh, yeah, this is a stadium.
Now,
I've already named the rifle cartridge. I've already named it.
But
just put SLP in front of whatever you got, and you're sold.
Yeah. It'll be a hyphenated name.
Right.
Or no, we'll give it a nickname, dude.
Ooh.
Isn't the name a nickname already? 6mm Cheetah?
Nope.
I mean, it sounds kind of short already.
No, you don't get to pick your own call sign, damn it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Rubber Ducky, you're not wrong.
He made you Rubber Ducky.
I hear you, Mountain Man.
Yeah, you don't want to know what my real call sign was.
Yes,
I do.
I do.
Yes, the fuck,
yes,
I do. What are you talking about?
Yes. Matter of fact, we're going on podcast strike right now till you tell us.
All right, so first of all, like I said, you don't get to pick your own. And I've got to warn everybody, this has a hard R attached to it. Okay. Yeah. So you don't get to pick your own call sign. During my first deployment, when I was as a defense contractor, so third deployment overall, I was working with an EOD unit. They gave me because I wasn't really attached to any specific unit, they gave me my own call sign to use whenever they needed to reach me. Soulless Ginger 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I told you there was a hard R. Guys, I'm sorry. Kids, if you're listening, I apologize. It's really rough, but yeah, Soulless Ginger 6.
Mine was actually really cool. So sorry. Yeah.
I was proud of it. I was proud of it.
Hitman. Hitman's kind of.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
It's been my call sign since 2009, first time I went overseas as a contractor. Yeah, I actually got the tattoo on my rib, like the Hitman symbol tattoo on my ribs. Yeah. So
the bald head with a barcode on his neck?
Yeah, that guy. But that's not what I have tattooed on my ribs. I've got the Hitman symbol.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know, if you don't know what that is, look it up.
It's
Hashtag Google.
Fancy H. Yeah.
Wow.
So, cool.
Is that what that is? Son of a bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
It's only awkward because it's a tramp stamp, Cam.
Ouch. Also not wrong.
Goodness. My goodness.
All right, so we got the round out. The cheetahs in production. Or
nobody wants to know
what
what my call sign is.
We're gonna give you one properly.
Mountain Man.
Oh, my daddy gave me one.
Okay, go ahead. So wait, real quick. Would this be a CB handle?
Yeah, essentially. Or for going out over the radio while we was hunting and fishing and whatnot.
Okay, let us have it.
He called me Buck. That's all. He get on the radio. How about you, Buck? I wish I was making this up. I'm not at all. He called me Buck. That was my call. All right, the fuck with you. Go on with your podcast.
I'm sure it means something to you. I don't.
That's
Chuck,
awesome.
Chuck, Mo Buck, Banana, Fana, Foe. On to you, TJ.
Yeah. So anyway, now here's the thing. I think your dad was maybe setting you up for failure, buddy. Imagine him getting on the radio. You get hurt. Buck down when you're out hunting. He's just gonna get a bunch of congratulations over the radio, man. What the hell?
Oh, God. The worst part is he gave me a radio with no batteries. He didn't come back for
So that
Mom always said.
That explains your infatuation with that Garmin doohickey you're always talking about.
You're damn right. I got an inReach now. I can get out myself.
Call it a helicopter ditty.
If I hit the $20,000 button, somebody with some spandex will come get me.
Yeah,
and it'll be orange.
There you go. Calling the Coast Guard. All right, so now, shenanigans aside for right now, Cam, you've got some new developments going on with you in the Army. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Hit us with some of that beautiful bean footage.
Flick. So, y'all know before I start talking about the Army, let me just take a little.
The views and opinions expressed on Sling'N Live are those of the individual correspondents and do not necessarily match with the viewpoints of AC494, SLP LLC, or GMD LLC. All right, continue.
So Cam, you're in a safe place. You're among friends. Woosa.
So as you guys know, sometimes whenever I talk about the Army, my blood pressure gets a little bit elevated. So
not wrong.
So here's the newest development. Nothing is set in stone yet. Basically, I'm trying to, I could get out in October. Like that's like that's been my big thing for, about a year now, is I was like, I can get out in October and be done and, have nothing to show for my service but some dope ass scars, and a couple of medals and ribbons that don't mean anything to me. And then, or I can try to continue what I've been trying to do for years, which is better the Army. I've tried to do that for, the better part of my career is I've tried to make it better. I've tried to develop soldiers into better soldiers. And, that's been my goal. And it just seems like every time I have something positive that I try to push the Army's way, it just gets shit on. And, it's frustrating. And that's why it elevates my blood pressure and why I have, some not so positive feelings about a lot of stuff that goes on within the Army. But I got a whole lot of positivity pushed my way, where basically there's the possibility of an opportunity for me to be the senior sniper in a unit. And I would
is that unit Rainbow Six?
No. And if that comes to fruition, if the Army gives me what I want, then I'll stay in. Because I could do a whole lot more in that position than I can in the one I'm in currently. I mean, currently I'm the senior team leader for a gunnery team. So like we did some gunnery stuff this past weekend and stuff like just gunnery shit. We did that this past weekend. We were stripping down 50s, the M2 and 240 240 Bravos, and we were just like stripping them, doing just regular stuff, tearing them down, putting them back together. What else? Basically, one of the things I don't like about gunnery, which is asking for permission to shoot and stuff like that. And it's because the way you're supposed to do it is basically if the gunner is the one who sees the target or the bad guy or whatever, he might say, you know, truck 300 meters, 12 o'clock. And then the TC, the truck commander inside of the vehicle would say, he would, hold on, I've been drinking. Hold on.
That naked turtle went straight to his head.
It really did. I took a big sip before I started talking about the Army. But anyway, he would say the distance, direction, description of whatever the target was. And then the truck commander would say something.
I can tell you're real passionate about your duties as a gunnery team leader.
I was doing really good at it this weekend, bro. Yeah. So anyway, and then he would say, he would say on the way, or I'm sorry. Wow, it's super simple. The TC would say fire. That's what I forgot. That's what I forgot to say. The TC would say fire.
Jesus fucking Marie Christ.
Yep. And then hold on. And then the gunner would say on the way. Those are the right words.
Oh my.
And then he would say target, which means that he destroyed the target. And then the TC inside of the truck would say ceasefire.
So
and that way,
in the course of all that conversation, despite the inebriation applied, to
it goes way faster.
Well, no, even still, like we're talking.
I
about,
sure
like,
the fuck hope so.
Targets. Now, I can see why that. No, I can see why that would frustrate you. That would take forever. I mean,
well, it's not. It really doesn't take that long. You would say, truck 300 meters, 12 o'clock. The TC would say fire. You would say on the way, pop, pop, pop. Target. He would say cease fire. That's it. That's how it's supposed to go. Okay. But I don't like it because you're asking for permission to kill bad guys. I don't know about you, but I've never asked for permission to kill bad guys. So it's okay. Yes, I have. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Shoot him again. So yeah, I don't know. Shoot him again. Anyway, there's a possibility that I could be I could be a boss, and that would be dope, and that would make me want to stay in because I could do a lot more in that position than my current position.
Well, all joking aside, man, I'm really hoping that comes through for you. So for what some of you watching this or listening to this might not understand is that at the end of the Vietnam War and leading up into Desert Storm, it was quite a bit of time in between those conflicts. The military had a huge problem with a loss of continuity of knowledge between those two those two eras. So retaining skill set, knowledge, and ability, and more importantly, real world experience is something that's crucial to the military. And while Cam and I can sit for hours and bitch and complain about all the things that the military did to piss us off, one of the things that frustrates us the most, and just like what Cam was alluding to, is we see where easy improvements could be made. We're not talking about spending billions of extra dollars for a hammer and a toilet seat. We're talking about just simply adjusting a knowledge base or a method of instruction or a basic policy or procedure that is currently implemented to make things more efficient and more effective. And when those things get crapped on, it's really demoralizing. And the worst thing is, while Cam has every right to be frustrated, if he were to get out then the military would be suffering all that much more from losing somebody with his skill set and expertise and experience. So, Cam, I truly hope that that comes through for you and you are able to exact the changes that you're aiming for, man. I'm really pulling for you.
You mean so much to me. You guys complete me.
Do what we can, man.
Oh.
Don't make me feel so good.
We try. So let's talk about the upcoming Panteao or Panteao. Somebody please help us with that. We were having a little pre-flight discussion as to which syllable.
Hold the fuck up. You say, somebody please help us with that. Somebody's going to spell that shit out, and we're going to look at it and go, yeah, exactly. It's what I fucking said. It's Panteao. And then you're going to say, no, it's Panteao. And then TJ's going to say,
it all depends on what emphasis you put on which syllable.
Right. So anyway, the Panteao, folks. And aerodynamics.
No. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take it from here.
Yeah. Which companies?
Yeah, so, all right, so Chris Roberts. So Chris Roberts is, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about this guy. But anyway, Chris Roberts is basically hosting this match. He came and shot my designated marksman match, and he loved it. He thought it was great. He thought it was awesome. He loved the concept. And he was like, he wanted to do his own, like that's all it was, is he came and shot my match and was like, hey man, that was fucking solid. I want to do that too. And, he not directly asked me to be like, a part of it or whatever, but I'm kind of a part of it because he took some of the aspects from my match and was like, hey, this makes sense. This was logical the way you did that. I would like to do that in my match. So, it is his match. It's not my match. I've had people text me and message me and send me screenshots and stuff like that and say, hey, is this your match? Or what do you have to do with this match? And blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm going to be shooting that match and I'm going to be, promoting that match. And some of the stuff is going to be similar to the match that y'all came and shot for me. So totally go shoot that match. I'm going to be there. I'm going to actually be shooting that match. I plan on shooting this gun in the match. We had a discussion about, the perfect designated marksman rifle. Like in my opinion, if as a staff sergeant, you should not be a designated marksman anymore. That's going to hurt some people's feelings. It hurts my feelings, honestly, because that's a role that I hold near and dear to my heart. But as a staff sergeant, your job is to be a squad leader. You should be leading a squad. I don't think a team leader should be a designated marksman either. I think, a team leader should be a team leader, but, that's not for me to say, that's the Army's choice, where they put, who they put, where they put. But I'd said before that, the chambering, because a designated marksman's job is to fill the gap between your basic soldier who's taught to shoot out to 300 meters and your sniper who is, from roughly 600 meters to 900 meters. So you've got 1 to 3 filled with your basic soldier. You've got your designated marksman filling the 3 to 6, and then you've got your sniper going 6 to 9. So you're covering, all of this ground with a different job. Obviously, you can bleed off a little bit into both sides, and I wanted to emphasize that in my match. I was like, as a designated marksman, you're going to be issued this gun. That's what you got. You're probably not going to be issued a pistol and stuff like that. So, I wanted targets to be everywhere from bad breath distance to 600 yards away. They're going a little bit past that. They're going out to 800 yards. And I don't think that's unreasonable for a designated marksman because you have that capability depending on your chambering of your gun. And I mean, I've made shots that were, pretty impressive for a 5.56. I've shot a 5.56 out to a mile. I mean, I didn't get consistent hits or anything like that, but, I got hits. So.
Oh, you hit something.
Yeah, I hit the target. It took me 3 rounds to get my first impact at 1 mile. Whenever I did it, so yeah, that was with a 5.56 with my hand loads and stuff like that. But if you have the opportunity, why not go a little bit better? Like, why not have a higher BC bullet or something like that? So, This gun right here is an 18-inch barrel, 6.5 Grendel with a Magpul bipod. The upper is super light. Like everybody who I've handed this gun to is like, damn, that's light. And it's got a Shepherd scopes 1:8, which is a mil relation second focal plane scope. So I've got a second focal plane 1:8 on it, and it's in 6.5 Grendel, and it's got a 2-stage like PSA match trigger in it. And yeah, so like that's really similar to what I was like. If I was going to make my perfect designated marksman rifle, it would be something similar to this. So I plan on shooting this in that designated marksman match. I ran some pretty cheap ammo through it last weekend or 2 weeks ago whenever I shot the egg shoot, and I got 2 sub MOA groups back to back out of it. And that was like new gun with cheap ammo. Well, cheap for 6.5 Grendel. Cheap for 6.5 Grendel, still using brass ammo as the Hornady American Gunner. And like I said, I shot 2 sub MOA groups out of it back to back.
Can't beat that, man. And you know, out to 100 for 800 yards, that's nothing for that Grendel. Yeah, actually, the one I just was filming the B-roll for the review on the rifle behind me. That's the head down Craftsman series, 18-inch 6.5 Grendel. I stretched it all the way out to 1,000. My own dumbass, spoiler alert, forgot about how bad the wind might have been and didn't realize that I had a 10 MOA holdover at 1,000 yards for that wind speed that we were dealing with. But 750, it was all like, it was nothing.
Yeah.
750, 800 is nothing for the 6.5 Grendel, easily.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot. I'm a huge fan of 6.5 Grendel and stuff like that. I love that it still fits in an MSR size platform. So, you know, like that's why I think that it fills the designated marksman's role like better, because, you know, a designated marksman will typically be issued a 308, which is, you know, I'm not going to say it's an aggressive recoiling round, but it is a heavier recoiling round. Like you don't have the fast follow-up shots with your 308 that you have with like a 5.56 or something like that. And I just feel like the 6.5 Grendel just really fills that gap well, where the designated marksman's role lives, like, you know, within 600 yards, you know, and I think that the 6.5 Grendel was just made for that. You know, anything 600 yards or 800 yards and in belongs to the 6.5 Grendel. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. I shoot 5.56 in like all of the precision rifle matches that I shoot. You know, like all the sniper matches I've shot and stuff like that, except for like one, I've shot 5.56. And people like lose their fucking minds whenever I tell them, yeah, I'm shooting a 5.56, you know, 1,000 yards, 800 yards and stuff like that. And I'm like, it works. It's just maths. Like, yeah, I get it. Your bullet destabilizes at Mach 1.2, 1,350 feet per second at sea level and all that other stuff. But, you know, my bullet reaches that point kind of early, but I've got a high sectional density for my projectile and has a good gyroscopic stability. So I can maintain that through the transonic zone. And then whenever my bullet transitions to subsonic, it's still going in about the same trajectory. So depending on target size, you'll still get a first round impact.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this is why I'm a pistol instructor, because I go, you put the red dot on the middle of the guy's chest and you go boom, boom like this, and it hits him. It's amazing. Holy crap. I have no idea what words. That could have been Spanish, honestly. Could have totally been Spanish. I have no idea.
Cam's over here talking about sectional density and gyroscopic stabilization, and Kent's in the back going, Panteao?
Yeah. No. He said gyroscopic, and all I could think of was like that lamb meat with the little fold over bread taco thing.
Oh, it's so good.
Hero?
Gyro.
Or gyro, depending on
what gyro. It's a gyro.
Panteao, right. Tomato.
Yeah,
emphasis on the syllables.
Yep. Right. So anyway, back to the match. So Panteao.
Man, I look forward to this match because, like, you know, that
you don't have to run it.
Yeah, well, that too. I tried really hard with my match to not really show people, but to show people what a designated marksman match was supposed to be. You know, like that was part of what I wanted to do with my match. I also wanted soldiers to come out to my match, and that didn't really happen because company commanders don't know about Army Regulation 350-66, which means that you can send soldiers to competitions and stuff like that on the Army's dime. I really wanted soldiers to come shoot my match. Unfortunately, There was only a few soldiers there. Well, actually, there was quite a few soldiers there, but their units didn't pay for them to be there. They were paying out of pocket to come to my match and stuff. And stuff like that. It aggravates me, but at the same time, I'm like, if you don't know, you don't know. And I had mentioned it before, but I said, hey, this is what a designated marksman should be able to do.
So
this
hang on,
right here.
hang on. Let me stop you,
Go ahead.
because we're all about putting out quality info on this podcast. Aside from all the jokes and nonsense, cite that reg again for the dude that's sitting there trying to write real fast. What is that?
AR 350-66.
There you go. And I'm assuming if you put that into Big Green Google, you will
Yep.
come up with the PDF that he's referencing.
Correct.
There you go.
Or every soldier with a CAC or a common access card has access to Army pubs or publications, and they can look it up there. So anyway,
hold on. Sorry, real quick,
Go ahead.
because we're getting intelligent questions. That's how you know they're not coming from me. They're intelligent questions. Can you elaborate more on the ballistic terms so the layman can understand?
Which ones?
Gyroscopic stability, sectional density.
Actually, TJ could probably hit on the gyroscopic stability because me and him had a pretty decent conversation about it in my camper. But gyroscopic stability
sounds dirty.
Yeah, right. So gyroscopic stability is because your projectile is rotating. You have rifling inside of your barrel. So whenever you throw a football, for example, your football is stable whenever it's in flight if you throw it properly because it's spinning, and that's gyroscopic stability, versus whenever you see the motherfucker doing this in the air, it's not stable. So it would be like having like too fast of a twist rate or too slow of a twist rate and stuff like that. So like your gyroscopic stability of your projectile means that your projectile is still maintaining its forward path through its trajectory.
And
There
is a distance for every bullet where it starts to lose that gyroscopic stability. It will go from spiral to wounded duck at a certain distance. And
yes.
while it will still be moving forward, it is more susceptible to wind drift and stuff like that, because now instead of having this nice, tight, spiraling projectile, you've got something that's pitching and yawing all over the place, and there you have it.
You were paying attention. Oh, I love it. Yes, and that distance is where the bullet reaches Mach 1.2 or 1,350 feet per second at sea level. I say at sea level because that number changes. Mach 1.2 changes depending on your elevation. The higher your elevation, the farther you can extend your rounds before they reach the transonic zone, because your air density is going to be less.
Right.
Okay. Sectional density.
Sectional density is a unit of measure used to, it's what your measurement is of, like we had talked about this before, the diameter of your projectile, and like think of the shape of a projectile. The diameter of it needs to be 1/3 of the distance from the shoulder of the projectile, not the case, the shoulder of the projectile to the me plat, which is the tip.
Just the me plat, baby.
Yeah, just the tip. And if you have, a perfectly shaped projectile, then it'll have a good sectional density. Having a good sectional density will determine how well it penetrates things, including the atmosphere.
Okay. So the transonic zone then directly impacts at what point the bullet goes subsonic?
No, Mach 1.2. Mach 1 is the subsonic zone. Mach 1.2 is the transonic zone. That's where it begins to destabilize.
Terry Williams, there you go. Just got your question answered. And hold
on. He asked when it goes subsonic. The bullet goes subsonic at 1,150 feet per second at sea level. Depending on your elevation, that's going to change, just like anything else. How far away that is. That's why ballistic calculators are so awesome these days. But you were asking specifically about the subsonic. And the big difference with your projectile is like not only does it destabilize in flight whenever it starts to slow down, and then it like hits that transonic zone where it hits a wall of destabilization where it quickly starts to slow down. But once the bullet is subsonic, you no longer hear a crack whenever it goes past your head. So like whenever me and TJ have been overseas, and I'm sure Kent, you've seen it or heard it here stateside, you've had bullets that were going faster than that go past you, and it makes a noise whenever a bullet goes past you, and it's breaking the sound barrier. But if somebody shoots like a pistol from 100 yards away and you hear that go over you, you might hear some buzz or something like that, but you don't hear the crack of the sound barrier being broke.
So, for posterity's sake, these are terms that TJ has a better understanding of them than I do, but I understand this stuff to a point, and I can conceptually wrap my mind around it on paper. Cam's out here doing that shit in his head while joking, wearing a Boogaloo Hawaiian shirt and filming at the same time. So this is a skill set that like I still don't have my grasp on. That's just the thing that hurts my brain.
Yeah, he's only doing calculus in the top of his head. What's so hard?
It's like Kent had talked about like beautiful mind shit where he was talking about like like all the chalk or whatever in my head, just like writing it all down for me and shit. Well, it's a lot of it's just shit that I've memorized. Like it's stuff that I've done so much that I just memorize it. Like dudes know that one MOA or shooter MOA is about an inch at 100 yards. But it's really not. It's 1.0472 inches at 100 yards. And the reason why is because it is an angular unit of measure. It's equal to 1/60th of a degree. That's what a minute of angle is. The angle is 1 degree. So whenever you work that problem out and you figure out what 1 degree equals at 100 yards, and then you divide that by 60, then you find out that it's 1.0472 inches. And with mil radians, which is what we typically use in long-range shooting, 1 mil radian is equal to 1/1000th of whatever your unit of measure is. So if your target is 1,000 yards away, then 1 mil radian is equal to 36 inches or 1 yard.
It's okay, Kent. We'll learn you.
Well, like it's relevant because whenever I teach this to snipers, for example, if I'm teaching snipers this for easy numbers, like I love using easy numbers, from the crotch to the top of the head, from here to here-ish, a person is generally 36 inches, and you can test this theory yourself. I've measured lots of people, and generally speaking, from the edge of the shoulder to the other edge of the shoulder, you're roughly 18 inches, which is half of 36 inches. So if 1 mil at 1,000 yards is equal to 1 yard, that's 36 inches. So if somebody fills 1 mil within your scope, then they're 1,000 yards away, just from the crotch to the top of the head. Then they're 1,000 yards away. If they fill 2, they're 500. If they fill 3, they're 333. If they fill 4, they're 250. And the way that that's relevant, width-wise, if you've got shoulders to work with, just divide it by 2. If they fill a mill, they're 500 yards away.
Hey, you down there, hold still so I can see how many mills you fill. Stay there.
Well, and that talks about the difference between a designated marksman and a sniper.
Right.
As a sniper, you have, and I mean, like, this isn't an all the time thing. As a sniper, you have the advantage of time. You have the opportunity to do a lot more recon and observation and stuff like that. As a designated marksman, you're already being engaged by the time you do your job. So you have seconds to quickly identify, range, and eliminate a target before your buddies start getting killed. So...
yeah. I got to be honest with you, Kim. That was one of the things that I appreciated the most about your match was that time hack. That made so much the difference because you had plenty of people show up from all different backgrounds. You had a lot of PR, precision rifle style shooters, guys that focus on that arena and that competition construct. And then you had guys like me who are used to 3-gun, and that short time for each stage or your part time leveled the playing field completely. Because you get these 3-gunners that are used to shooting really fast but not very far, and you got these precision rifle shooters that are used to shooting really far but not really fast. So it completely leveled the playing field. I loved it.
It's a different game, man. It's a different game. And that was, I tried to grasp the concept of the designated marksman the best I could in my match. Like I basically I've shot other designated marksman match before and stuff like that. And I've gone, okay, I actually did this. I actually was a designated marksman for a while. And I was like, who better than me to say this is the way that, this is the way that you do the designated marksman thing, and the thing that really inspired me to do my match the way that I did was the quantified performance matches. I'm a quantified performance member and stuff like that. They're, awesome dudes. They just had a match this past weekend that I unfortunately didn't get to make because I had to go play Army. But yeah, the QP dudes, Ash and Jack, they hosted a couple of matches. Those are the dudes who wrote the fucking book, the 322-9 training circular, the rifle and carbine. And there's a part in there about the designated marksman. Actually, it's mentioned multiple times. But if you talk to the dudes who wrote the Army doctrine, the 322-9, the training circular, they will tell you that the goal isn't to have a designated marksman anymore. They're trying to push away from the designated marksman. And at first, I hated hearing it. I hated hearing, hey, there it is. Yep, May 2016. Yep, May 2016. That's the right one. And the new sniper doctrine is December 2017.
Just in case those of y'all think I am as dumb as I pretend to be, I do some reading.
Well, I did notice it was still in the wrapper, Kent.
Motherfucker, it's a binder.
Sure. So
it's
anyway.
A binder. Look, it binds.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, David Copperfield. Anyway, so Kent, David Copperfield is a fake magician who does this street magic.
All right, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks so much. Cam Hayes will never be on my goddamn show again. So
I can do it to TJ, who is the lead slinging ginger, but I can't do it to Kent.
That's right.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yes, now you get the rules.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, those dudes, they wrote the book. They're like this. It's mentioned multiple times in there. A designated marksman and stuff like that. It also has a lot of stuff about your basic soldiers, like what they're supposed to be able to do. And talking to dudes like Mike Lewis, the guy who owns Canebrake, and talking to Ash Hess, and I haven't really talked to Jack about it because I'm a piece of shit. But whenever I talk to these guys about it, the goal is to get every single soldier to be able to engage targets out to 600 yards, meters, whatever. And that is an achievable goal if you have competent leaders and instructors. That's where you run into the biggest deficiency, in my expert opinion, is most people, whenever they pick somebody to teach a class, they go, hey, that dude used to be infantry. He's teaching this map reading class now. And that's not the way to do it. Not a whole lot of people know how to teach adults. And that's a real thing. Adult learning is a lot different than teaching kids. And I say kids, like, not necessarily meaning like the 18, 19-year-olds that I have to teach in the Army a lot of times and stuff like that. I mean, like kids. Like because people teach adults the same way that you teach kids. And adults learn differently because we have the bottom of the leadership triangle, which is experience. So the goal is every soldier should be able to engage targets out to 600. The issue, competent instructors. Yeah. So I can teach an entire company of soldiers how to do that. I'm one dude. Will that entire company of soldiers go teach another company of soldiers? No, that's not how the Army works. So then, okay, what's a more realistic goal? Let's have every single cavalry and infantry soldier, let's teach them to shoot out to 600. Okay, that's a more achievable goal. But is it going to happen? Are the competent leaders going to stay in? Are you going to give them what they want? Or are you going to let them get out in October?
Hashtag mic drop.
So for those of you interested in learning more about adult learning theory, this is something I actually spend a lot of time on. Look up Malcolm Knowles and look up the 4 behavior modes of learning theory so that you can understand how to evaluate somebody and thereby teach them a given task or skill set. This is the difference between a quality instructor of anything. We can stop talking guns and talk about driving cars or, cybersecurity work or sales or anything. If you're teaching somebody who's past their infancy stages of learning, and like Cam's saying, you're still doing it the way you would teach your baby how to talk, you're really fucking them up, and or you're missing some things. So Malcolm Knowles.
Or you're going to shut them down completely and just not get, like when you do, if we're talking about the crawl, walk, run approach as the Army or military in general likes to use, there are plenty of people where even when you get to the walk and run phase where more adults do tend to learn better, you get to the crawl phase, they're going to be so turned off by what you're trying to say or the way you're saying it, they're not going to care what you have to say when you get to the quality information. By the time you catch the lowest common denominator up to everybody else, because they're all joking aside, there is some relevancy to teaching the extreme novice the same way you would treat a child. Just why you see people in basic training. You see that you can look at the videos all day long about, soldiers on the range in basic training for the first time. Some have never touched a gun before. And I hearken back to the one clip that I saw where the kid literally couldn't figure out why his gun was, like, where all his bullets went. And the drill sergeant's like, "You shot them all, Private." "Well, how'd that happen, Drill Sergeant?" "You were engaging the targets on the range, man." Like, there are people like that, and there is a time and a place for it. But to Kent's point, the reason they're called the lowest common denominator does not mean they're the most frequent. That's not the education level of everybody you're talking to. If Kent's got a class of 18 people or even 8 people, there might be one of them that needs that level of attention. The other 7 are just going to shut down on you. So
the real magic trick is how to find a way to demo and lecture and mix all of these things, and how to bust them up into separate relays, and how to use the Socratic method so that everybody gets something out of the same lesson block, regardless of their behavior mode. And this is the challenge, right? This is what I strive to get good at. And Christ knows I'm not perfect at it. But I'm also not running the same POI out of a binder, regardless of what happens. A dude shoots himself in the foot. It's like, well, I guess we're going to move on to barricades now. It's like, no, bro, that guy just shot himself in the fucking foot. We needs to back up, right? But it's 10:45 and it says we should be on barricades, so we're going to the barricades. Well, that dude's gonna bleed. Can I put a tourniquet on him? No, barricades. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, just for a quick pause and station identification and a shout out to some of our affiliates. Of course,
Dark Angel Medical.
Yeah, exactly. While we're talking about shooting yourself in the foot, or that guy shooting himself on the foot, one of the most important things that you can have in your range bag or equipment kit to take with you to the range is, of course, quality medical equipment. We, of course, are friends with Kerry Davis of Dark Angel Medical fame. We invite you guys to go check out his website, darkangelmedical.com. Use code BB Bravo 15 at checkout for 15% off, and be sure that you put Sling'N Lead Podcast in the comment section when you place your order so that Kerry knows that he's getting the proper amount of love from us. We get no kickbacks from those discount codes. These are savings that Kerry has shared with us to share with our listeners. So we invite you guys to head on over there and go check him out. So With that, Kim, I think we did talk about. So we touched on the sniper versus designated marksman part. So I think we just started to touch on the role concept and implementation piece that you wanted to talk about. So why don't you go ahead and lead us down that path and start talking about that a little bit?
Okay. Real quick, though, I just realized that was Jordan Spradley, who's commenting on a lot of our stuff or whatever. I'm currently evaluating a bag that Jordan Spradley gave me. That's like you know how me and you were talking one day about like using squeeze bags for your guns and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I had mentioned it in the egg shoot video and stuff like that. I have one of Jordan Spradley's bags that I'm currently evaluating, and he wants my input on it so that he can make it better for precision rifle shooters, gas gun dudes, bolt gun dudes, stuff like that. So I'm going to put in my input on, like what I would like to see in his bags, and he might possibly call it like the Hazer bag or some shit like that.
What's his company name?
Jordan, you want to come in there? I put some emphasis on it. Jordan, you want to you know, chime in on that one?
Yeah, Jordan, by all means, man, put your information there in the chat. We'll be happy to shout it out on the podcast here. I saw that bag in your egg shoot video. So that looks quality made. That's one of the things. So I have played around with, making some range equipment, kind of commandeering the wife's sewing machine and making, bullet bags and stuff like that. I've always wanted to venture in to try to make my own squeeze bags. And I was like, no. I saw how my bullet bags turned out, and I'm not going to do that.
Spread bags.
There you go. So, Sprad bags, folks. Google that. Yeah. Head on over. Check out what Mr. Spradley has to offer.
So yeah, that was all right. So the role concept and implementation. I mean, that's basically what we've been talking about. Like I was talking about how the sniper has the sniper's filling this role. He's filling this distance or whatever, but it's not just necessarily a distance that a sniper fills. A sniper fills the role of like he does a lot of reconnaissance. I've done Overwatch missions where I was just watching shit. Watching a route to make sure that nobody placed an IED on it and stuff like that. And I mean, sometimes a designated marksman will do that job. But typically that's a sniper's job, is to do Overwatch missions. And you might be doing like Overwatch for a unit that's interrogating a village or something like that. Like they might be going into a village looking for whatever, looking for information, looking for looking for weapons, whatever. So like, that's the kind of thing that a designated marksman wouldn't be doing. A designated marksman should stay within the squad because, like I had said before, the designated marksman's job is to provide overmatch. So your enemy is shooting at you from an extended distance, and your regular dudes within your squad are trained to shoot out to 300 meters, but they're shooting at you from 500 meters because they know that you were only trained to shoot out to 300. So now your designated marksman goes, oh, well, he's only 500 meters away. I know these dudes don't know how to shoot him, but I know how to. So he can eliminate that threat, and they can Charlie Mike. So that's more the role for the designated marksman, is he is extending the reach of their ballistic capabilities, and then the sniper isn't really attached to a squad in that way, because the only times I've ever seen snipers attached to squads is whenever they're being infilled. So like whenever they're, they'll attach to a squad so that they kind of blend in, and then they'll go to their hide site or their FFP, their final firing position. And that way they're kind of blended in. Like if it's something like they couldn't just sneak into kind of thing, like not everything's all ghillie suits and sexiness, like, that kind of thing. So implementation, like your role, you're not going to use a designated marksman to do Overwatch missions or to do recon missions where they're just exclusively going to be babysitting something. Like, that's not what they're for. You would use a sniper for that. The only time I ever hear about snipers being used like designated marksman is in the 75th Ranger Regiment. Because they use their snipers like designated marksmen, and then they use them like snipers as well. But whenever you're a tier 1 dude, like you're expected to go above and beyond to do more than what you're supposed to be doing as far as your job. That's all I have to say about that.
So an analogy just came to my head. Would you say that a designated marksman is kind of like the ugly girl in the group that goes out to the club that stays sober? Like it's her job.
But she always puts out.
Right, but she's kind of watching from afar, making sure none of the dudes get over into the little dance circle. And if any of them come off the wall and get out into the middle, she starts to tell the flock to start a squawking. Is that, am I anywhere close?
I'm drinking entirely too much for that to make sense.
Okay.
Thank God we don't have an HR department.
I just,
I mean, I feel like it was coming up on some all right, so she's got real big titties though, so she can reach out real far. But she always puts out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see that. I don't know what porno we're watching now.
Just saying, it's like your job to watch over the.
Your job as a designated marksman is to. Oh shit! Something just completely stopped on me. Am I back? Back? Was I gone?
We're good. Both of you
okay
for a second, but we're back.
Your job as a designated marksman is to be a rifleman. That's your whole last job. You're a rifleman.
So a little less spray and pray is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like your job is to move with the squad, do everything with the squad. You're just a regular member of the squad. But whenever, home skillet's over here with an RPK on the hilltop 600 meters away, and, your machine gunner is, spraying and they're putting their heads down, your designated marksman can be like, yo, dog, quit shooting. And then he'll quit shooting, so he'll stick his head back up and your designated marksman pops him. That's my favorite way to teach designated marksman to be implemented. Is to use your machine gunners, use your grenadiers, use your designated marksman. Everybody has a role. Everybody's important. Everybody gets a trophy.
It's interesting.
There's
I like
a 10th place, Walker. There is a 10th place. I just want to point out, I got to participate. I didn't finish first at your match, and I still walked away with something cool, like a Control Solutions muzzle brake.
Literally everyone who came to my match walked away with something dope. I think the worst prize that anybody got off my praise table, and it wasn't even bad, was an F-bomb bottle opener. And that was like the dude in last place. Like one of the dudes who came in 20th place or some shit like that, he walked away with some steel, like a steel target and shit like that. And I was like, damn, that's some good stuff.
Dude, you put a quality match together. So
we're
if Panteao is putting together a match, and it sounds like they've derived a lot of the basis for their match on what you put together. I mean, it's sure to be a fantastic match, man. I had a great time. I really did. Like I said, the one negative thing that I had was I wish there were more stages because of the short part times. But it's not just because of the short part times, and I wanted to get more time on the range. It's because I wanted to enjoy the match that much more, right? I wanted more stages because it was that fun. I didn't get bored. Everybody was, great group of dudes that showed up. It was fantastic. Great match. So if you guys are in or around the where's this, speaking of which, where's this Panteao match going to go?
It's going to be at the Panteao facility or whatever in South Carolina. I've shared it on my Facebook page and stuff like that. So, go to my Facebook page, you'll see it.
And there is a link in the description of this YouTube broadcast. It will also be in the description for our actual podcast that'll go on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so forth. But yeah, if you guys are going to be in the area, or hell, I was 8 hours away and I still made it out. If you are willing to drive it, it is worth the drive. It's a fantastic event. Just the match layout in and of itself is worth it. And I've been shooting 3-gun for several years. I have yet to come across a match that I was that excited about where I would say, no, you need to drive to this match, and for it not to be like a regional or a national championship. It was a great time. You done did good, Cam.
I appreciate that. I hope that it sparks something where people start doing more designated marksman matches, because like pretty much all you ever see now is a precision rifle match or a sniper match, and that's like all you see.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hardly ever see designated marksman matches, and I'm like, man, those are so much fun though. Like, and I was like, they could be, if they're done right, which I have no doubt in my mind that Chris is going to do it right. If they're done right, they're going to be a fucking ball. And I'm looking forward to going and shooting his match. I think it's good. I know it's going to be a good time. He's extended the distance a little bit, which is why I'm up in the chambering from the 5.56 that I've shot in like everything. I want to increase my percentage of hit probability at distance, so that's why I'm going with a different chambering. That might hurt me if he's got speed stages like what I had, but maybe I'll slap a control brake on it before the match. We'll see.
Yeah, there you go, man. Representing those gas guns, though, man. I'm loving it. Hashtag gas gun life. T-shirt idea.
Fucking love gas guns. We've just moved on past the horse and buggy. We don't need to sling bolts anymore. That being said, I have a few.
Oh, I mean, there's always room on the range for a good bolt gun, but I think with the proliferation of the AR-15 style platform, we have come to that point in the development of that. The bolt guns of the world. You're an embodiment of proving that point. You hit an egg at 315 yards with one.
I did do that.
The third shot.
That is a thing that I did. You're right. I did do that. Well, and then like another funny thing about it was like we were all zeroing at 100 yards before we went out there, and like just getting whatever data we could get before the match, and I shot a quarter MOA group with my rifle. A gas gun. They're not supposed to be able to shoot quarter MOA, right? They don't do that. Gas guns don't do that. And then I had dudes with bolt guns that were like, right next to me shooting 1 MOA groups. And I was like, I'm literally shooting better groups out of my gas gun than you're shooting out of your bolt gun. So the big advantage of a bolt gun over a gas gun is supposed to be the level of precision, because of the tolerances that go into making a bolt gun versus a gas gun, because you have moving parts. And then, and I'm taking away the advantage of the bolt gun with a gas gun. And not only that, how precise do you really need to be? How big is your target? How far is your target?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we should throw out this disclaimer, though, folks, that while these guns are capable, it will depend on your ability as a shooter to do that platform justice.
That's why I tell people all the time, it's the combination. It's the rifle, ammunition, and shooter combination. You like those three things all have to be in sequence with each other.
Yep.
And when I say rifle, I include optic. Like that means optic as well to me.
Yeah. This gun on the wall behind me, like I said, it's the Head Down Firearms Craftsman 18-inch 6.5 Grendel. Everyone, and we had them on the show. We had Matt from Head Down Firearms on the show with us a couple weeks ago. Every one of these guns comes off their production line with a test and demonstrated proof that it will shoot sub-MOA. I have gotten that sometimes, but that is really just a highlight of my ability as a shooter. I'm still learning the long-range thing. I'm not the best on the planet, but I can tell you right now, I can certainly see the precision and the consistency there. As long as I do my job, that gun does everything that's supposed to do.
I'm not even the best long-range shooter in this basement. And I'm the only person here. But I will tell you this. You guys are starting to light a fire in me to make me want to get into more rifle-y shit.
You should.
And not just my typical, 0 to 200, because my 5.56 can fight you out of my house. Shit. It's interesting, man. I mean, it's such a departure from the shit we usually do on the pistol range, where we're trying to, get 6 shots out of our gun in 1.89 seconds and fucking, we're not happy if we do it in 2:01, right? And now you're, settling down and doing the woosah thing and creating some calm and checking the wind, having a sandwich, and then someday maybe you press that trigger and you miss. So you do it again and you still miss. You realize your math was wrong, and you call Cam. He explains it to you. And you still fuck the math up, and you miss again. But someday, young man, you will get it right.
Yeah, truth be told, I have shot out to 1,000 yards. I've landed one round at 1,000. And I will tell you what, out of the 100 or so rounds that I've launched at 1,000 yards so far, that moment when it impacted that steel at 1,000 yards, I was elated. It was amazing. So yeah, and you know what? I'm also kind of chubby and lazy, and if I can do something while laying down, damn it, I'm going to take the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't need a squeeze bag. I'll just exhale. I mean, it's really the same thing, right?
Yeah, I got to upgrade to a squeeze bag. I usually just grab like a jacket.
Yeah, I'm ghetto as hell, dude.
Same. I've done that for so long. So the name of the, we had talked about like the possibility of like giving people a little bit who actually stuck around for like the entirety of the podcast. Like we've covered most of the talking points up to this point. So the meme that TJ made was, I don't know, shoot him again. That came from a situation. I'm not going to give out all the details or whatever, but that was a situation that I was involved in where a dude shot a guy. The guy didn't die. He was screaming really loudly. The guy looked over at me and said, "What do I do?" And my response was, "I don't know, shoot him again." And and I kind of got a reputation from that of where, to such an extent that would shoot me a message on Facebook and they would say something along the lines of like, "Man, we really wish you were here right now." And I'm like, "Wow, what's going on?" You're like, "Man, some village elder just straight up lied to us and being a dickhead. And we know you'd have shot his ass by now if that was the case." And I'm like, "God damn, that's what y'all think of me?" But yeah, that was it gave me kind of a reputation or whatever, but it was it sort of became the punchline of a lot of jokes too, where people were like I would just say just some random shit, doing army whatever, and somebody'd say, "I don't know, shoot him again." Like that was just like the solution to everything. "I don't know, shoot him again."
I mean, it's kind of like the duct tape of the tactical life, right?
Right. "I don't know, shoot him again."
Yeah, I mean, it works for me. I don't know about you guys, but with that, we are coming up to that magical time mark, folks, where we are reaching the end of our show. Cam, as always, we want to thank you for being here. Any last minute shout outs or love that you want to share while we close this thing down?
All right. I'm going to go through all my sponsors real quick again and people who I just want to give shout outs to. Aerodynamics, Title II, Bullet Consulting, Control, TRM, 903 Tactical, Fortitude Consulting, Phoenix Strategies, Canebrake, and I'm not giving them a shout out. Yeah, that's everybody. I am giving one to shout out, but not the next person on my list.
Fair enough, brother. Well, as always, we appreciate you being here. Keep us
posted. I forgot too. I'm sorry. I totally forgot too. So there's also TJ Ramsey, the lead slinging ginger. He makes knives and shit, but like I don't think he's been doing that so much here lately. He lives that gun life, and he also keeps you guys safe in some other computer world way. And then also, so there's this dude, right? His name's Kent Hauer. He's not much of a looker, but he does have a face for sitting on, I tell you what. And that dude, man, I tell you, he's just fucking good people. Like he might not be good at goddamn boy, he can teach you some stuff about a pistol though. Just damn good pistol guy. I love you guys. So Kent Hauer has Green Mountain Defense. I want to throw him a quick shout out. I have not had the opportunity to take one of his classes yet, but I do fully intend on taking one. It just depends on, when I don't have a match lined up, when I'm not hosting a match, when I'm not doing Army shit. I've got my fingers in a little bit of everything. Kent knows a thing or two about that. I'm saying?
You are never coming on this goddamn show again. You're out. You're out of here.
So join us next week with Cam Hayes.
Yeah, fuck you, buddy. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah, so Cam, it truly is a pleasure, man. We really enjoy having you. God damn it, you are one funny son of a bitch, and we love you for it. Kent, what you got, man?
Well, I'll be sending NDAs to everybody and cease and desist letters and fuck yous. No, let's see. I just got a suppressor out of ATF jail. Shut up, Cam. I know it's an old trope at this point. It's only been 14 months. But I got my Dead Air Sandman. That was cool. Spent this past Sunday with the folks from Tyon Suppressors testing their entire product lineup. And I do mean their entire product lineup. The guy brought out a toilet paper tube from when he was 12, said he thought about using it as a suppressor one time, and we shot that fucking thing too. We shot everything except for David's sheep. David would not let me shoot a sheep. Try as I might. So we got some great video coming out on Tyon Suppressors. Got a video coming out on the Walther PPQ-5 steel frame. And please donate to Hold My Guns. HoldMyGuns.org. Suicide prevention, freedom-based charitable organization that I'm on the board of. We are trying very hard to combat red flag laws and other forms of government tyranny by giving you a choice if you need to take a break from lethal means. Check out holdmyguns.org and please contact Sarah or Genevieve with your questions. God knows ain't nobody want to talk to me. That's all I got.
Outstanding, buddy. Well, folks, you heard it here. As always, we appreciate you participating in our live chat. We always appreciate a lively chat room, and we encourage viewer participation. So if you ever have questions, feel free to join us live whenever we have these things and post your questions in that chat. We will answer and curate them here on the show. If you catch us in between shows, you can always email us, slingandleadpodcast@gmail.com. Kent and I both monitor that email inbox, and we'll be happy to address any questions, comments, or concerns you might have, and hopefully educate you and start you on the path of the well-educated self-defender. With that, folks, we have merch. Head on over to Teespring. The links are in the description below. We only have a couple designs going so far, but we will have more coming shortly. Be on the lookout for that. Of course, head on over to our individual YouTube channels. Kent at Green Mountain Defense on Instagram and YouTube. Myself, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as the Lead Sling'N Ginger. And of course, Cam Hayes, Hayes C494, as you can see from the lovely placard behind him on the wall there. With that, folks, we appreciate you all.
Wait.
Who do we leave out?
Wait.
Kent. I see it too, Kent. I see it too.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea.
I think we could make some money off of it. I really do. And I don't have a problem with wearing booty shorts. We all know that.
I feel personally attacked. What is going on here?
Read the comments.
Just read the comments. That's all. It's a good idea. It really is a good idea. I don't know. Shoot him again.
Oh, dear God.
I don't know. Shoot him again.
I don't know. Shoot him again. No,
I mean, not for nothing. I've got a camera.
I've definitely done worse things for money. And maybe the proceeds of the Cameron Hayes bikini calendar could go to a charity or to the Cameron Hayes Once More Gats and Ammo Fund.
Hold My Guns. You do a calendar and we donate the profits to Hold My Guns. Okay,
they don't need $5, Kent. That's for one. That's for one calendar that I buy for myself.
Yes, we do need $5.
Oh,
but
God.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Just when I thought I was going to get off this podcast without something haunting my dreams.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God damn it. I love you guys. But with that, stay tuned for the Cameron Hayes bikini calendar charity event slash long range designated marksmanship match. I don't know. At this point, I've completely lost control and this thing is derailed. So with that, folks, God bless you all. Take care of each other and get out and shoot.
Everybody.